strengthening security and law enforcement in Kerio Valley, Kenya. Permanent security posts. Establish well-resourced police and Kenya Defense Forces, KDF stations, strategically along known bandit-prone zones. Community policing and intelligence networks. Build trust between security forces and local communities by training and deploying community policing units to improve information sharing. Cross-border cooperation. Work with neighboring counties, West Pokot, Baringo, Turkana, for joint security patrols to curb cross-county cattle rustling. Insecurity in Kerio Valley has persisted for decades, despite numerous peace deals. Cattle rustling, banditry, and retaliatory killings continue unabated. How can lasting peace be achieved? This is the 4th episode of our series, Insecurity in the Counties. Today we look at Kerio Valley. The sprawling valley is home to several communities: the Elgeyo Marakwet, the Pokot, the Sabaot, and the Endoroa, among others. For decades, the region has been ravaged by cattle rustling and inter-ethnic violence. Thousands have been killed and many more displaced. Children have been out of school for years, and development projects barely take off. So what exactly is causing this insecurity? Our investigation reveals that poverty and inequality are the root causes of the problem. Cattle rustling is just a means to an end. It's either a means to acquire wealth or a means of defending existing wealth. Armed groups raid one another's cattle because they want to acquire the economic benefits that come with owning large herds of cattle. In this community, the size of your herd determines your wealth, social status, and political influence, so young men join gangs and get radicalized, perpetuating a cycle of violence. How then can this cycle be broken? We found that there are basically 3 ways to achieve this. The first is through socio-economic transformation. This involves creating alternative livelihoods that are more profitable than cattle rustling. Specifically, supporting vocational training for the youth in carpentry, mechanics, tailoring, ICT, and agribusiness. Others is livestock insurance. By introducing livestock insurance schemes and cooperatives, pastoralists will be able to access financial services that protect them against devastating losses without having to raid other people's cattle. The construction of livestock markets in every ward will ensure that pastoralists can sell their animals at good prices and in a secure environment. Education and awareness. This involves making education accessible and attractive to the children living in these volatile regions. This includes the construction of mobile schools and boarding schools that can be used during the school holidays when insecurity is usually high. Other than that, peace education should be integrated into the school curriculum. This is where conflict resolution, cultural tolerance, and nonviolent dispute management are taught. Scholarship and bursary schemes should be put in place to encourage children to go to school and stay there. 3. Environmental conservation and climate adaptation. Restoring degraded forests, such as the Embabut and Sharangi and their catchment areas, will enhance water and soil conservation, mitigate floods and droughts, and provide alternative sources of livelihood for the locals through beekeeping and ecotourism. The construction of dams, pans, and boreholes in secure zones will reduce the pressure on resources in the volatile areas. Introducing drought-resistant crops, irrigation systems, and soil conservation structures will improve food security and prevent the communities from becoming climate refugees. As we conclude, it's important to note that lasting peace can only be achieved through a multi-sectoral approach that addresses the socio-economic inequalities and environmental challenges facing the region. Engaging the youth in peace-building initiatives, promoting cultural exchange programs, and investing in infrastructure development will go a long way in achieving this goal. The situation of insecurity in Kerio Valley is dire. It has reached a point where even the local leaders have almost become helpless. People can no longer go about their daily activities freely. There is constant fear of being attacked. This has led to a lot of deaths, and many families have been displaced. So, what exactly is happening? What are the underlying causes of this problem? And how can it be solved once and for all? Well, the first thing that you need to understand is that this problem is as old as the area itself. For many years now, the Pokot and Marquette communities have had a long history of cattle rustling, which has led to cycles of revenge attacks. Now, in an area where a majority of the population depend on livestock, losing cows to theft is not just a loss of property, but also a loss of livelihood and source of income. So when a raid happens, the retaliatory raid follows soon after. But there's more to this problem than just cattle rustling. There's also the issue of poverty, which is widespread in the area. The lack of development and underdevelopment of the region have contributed to the problem of insecurity, and this has made it difficult for the locals to find alternative sources of income. Now, despite several efforts by the Kenyan government and county governments in the region to end banditry, the situation continues to deteriorate. So what are some of the things that can be done to solve this problem once and for all? Well, here are a few suggestions. First, socio-economic transformation. Support alternative livelihood programs for the youth in the area. This will reduce the incentive for them to engage in cattle rustling. Some of these programs can include vocational training in carpentry, mechanics, tailoring, ICT, and agribusiness. Other programs can include livestock insurance schemes and cooperatives to protect pastoralists from devastating losses, as well as market infrastructure to make legal trade more profitable than theft. Second, education and awareness. Provide access to quality education for children in the area. This can be done through mobile or boarding schools. Such schools can ensure that children get a quality education even during the height of insecurity. The curriculum should also be reviewed to include peace education, conflict resolution, cultural tolerance, and nonviolent dispute management. To encourage school attendance, there should be scholarship and bursary schemes to reduce the economic barrier. Third, environmental conservation and climate adaptation. The restoration of forest cover in the area can help prevent soil erosion and restore the degraded land. This can be done through community forest patrols and tree planting. Other measures can include water harvesting projects such as dams, pans, and boreholes to reduce dependence on risky grazing areas. Also, introduce climate-smart agriculture to improve food security. Peace-building and cultural engagement in Pokot and Marquette can be achieved through inter-community dialogues and peace agreements. These dialogues can involve elders, youth, and women's groups from both communities to address historical grievances and build relationships. Other measures can include cultural exchange programs such as sporting events, cultural festivals, and trade fairs. These events can help break down stereotypes and encourage positive interactions between rival communities. The role of faith leaders in mobilizing churches to champion peace cannot be ignored. Infrastructure development can help open up the area for economic growth and development. This includes roads, communication, and security infrastructure. Good road networks will allow for rapid security deployment and also open up markets for farm produce. Improved telecommunication networks will also help in reporting raids and create economic opportunities. Also, street lighting in trading centers and CCTV cameras in key market towns will help in surveillance and crime prevention. There should be a clear policy on how to end cattle rustling, killings, and general insecurity in the Kerio Valley. The policy should involve the County Peace and Security Council, which brings together the county government, national government agencies, civil society, and community leaders. There should be a joint security and peace framework involving the Pokot and Marquette communities. This will include permanent joint security units, community peace committees, and weapons disarmament with reintegration. This approach will help to create a lasting solution to the problem of insecurity in the Kerio Valley. The residents of Kerio Valley in the North Rift region are living in fear after a spate of insecurity that has befallen the area. The Kerio Valley residents have surrendered 120 illegal firearms and 287 ammunition to the Kenyan police. This comes after a series of cattle rustling incidents in the area. According to the Marquette County Regional Police Commandant, the residents of Kerio Valley handed over the illicit guns and weapons at the chief's office in Tot Quen location in Marakwet East sub-county. He said that the residents were afraid of being attacked by bandits. The Kenyan police boss commanding the illicit arms in Kerio Valley said that the weapons included 102 AK-47 guns and 18 other assorted weapons. He said that the owners of the weapons will be required to explain how they acquired them. The Kerio Valley police boss said that security has improved in the area and that the disarmament process is going well. However, he admitted that there are still some stubborn bandits who are resisting the disarmament process. The Kenyan police commandant, with other government multi-agencies, warned the bandits to surrender their weapons peacefully or face the wrath of the law. He said that the police are on the ground to ensure that the remaining bandits surrender their weapons. The government has a plan to resettle the residents of Kerio Valley who have been displaced by the cattle rustlers. He said that the government is working with various agencies to identify the most suitable place to resettle the families. The Kenyan government has also launched a manhunt for the suspects who raided a village in Kerio Valley and stole 600 cows. The incident occurred in the early hours of the morning when the bandits attacked the Sangach village and drove away hundreds of cattle. The residents said that the bandits, who are suspected to be Pokots, were armed with AK-47 rifles and other homemade guns. They said that the bandits also stole several sheep, cows, and goats. The motive behind the attack is believed to be cattle rustling. Cattle rustling is a common occurrence in the Kenyan Kerio Valley region, where gangs from neighboring communities often clash over grazing land and water. The Kenyan government has intensified security in the area to try and prevent such attacks from happening. However, the bandits have proved to be elusive, and the attacks are still happening despite the heavy security presence. The stolen cows by bandits from Pokot are usually taken to cartels, where they are sold to unsuspecting buyers. The money is then used to buy weapons and ammunition, which are used to carry out more attacks. The government is appealing to the residents of Kerio Valley to continue cooperating with the security agencies so that the remaining weapons can be surrendered. The government has also promised to reward anyone who will give information that will lead to the recovery of the stolen animals.